Today we're going to talk about the male psychology during the no contact rule. Now this is something that I've talked a lot about on this YouTube channel. In fact, one of our most popular videos on this YouTube channel deals with this exact topic. But it's a few years old and it's time to update and talk about the male psychology during the no contact rule. So let's talk a little bit about what the no contact rule is before I go into the psychology of what happens to men when you use it on them. The no contact rule, simply put, is a period of time where you purposefully ignore your ex with the intent of outgrowing them. Now by doing this, you'll find that they end up missing you more. So we'll talk a little bit more about the intent aspect later, but let's get to the juicy stuff. Believe it or not, we have found that when you use the no contact rule on men, there are literally 7 stages that they'll go through. Now I'm actually gonna buzz through these stages because if you want to know exactly what these stages are, I've filmed like 3 videos on them. Now we've added a few stages over the years, but just consider these like your quick crash course into what the no contact rule tends to do to men. So in all, I believe there are 7 stages that an ex will go through when you use a no contact rule on them. The first stage is that they're really calm and assured of their decision. They most of the time have broken up with you and they're kind of happy about the fact that they no longer have to deal with the stress of being with you. Then they move on to stage number 2, which is they actually begin to worry after they don't hear from you. It's been a few days, they're used to talking to you time and time again, and it doesn't happen, so the worry starts to set in. Stage 3 is once they realize they're being ignored, they get a little bit angry. Again, very common. They don't like the fact that you are ignoring them. They feel like it's childish, and so they get angry. This is oftentimes when you will experience an ex reach out to you, say something really mean like, oh, real mature, or you can't treat me this way. This is all during that anger stage. Stage number 4 is when they dig their heels in and become extremely stubborn about contacting you. In other words, it's a knee-jerk reaction to you using a no contact rule on them and them being angry. The fact that they're angry that you haven't contacted them, they'll go through this process in their mind where they think to themselves, well, you know what? Fine, I'm not gonna contact her. I'm done with her. This is oftentimes where many of our clients freak out and break the no contact rule because they're worried of losing their ex forever. Stage number 5 is finding a way to prove that they aren't bothered. So this one is again pretty self-explanatory. Your ex will feel they're extremely stubborn about contacting you, so they will distract themselves with all kinds of things, sometimes including other people going on the rebound, so that they don't think so much about you. They're not bothered by the fact that you're ignoring them. Stage 6 is they finally begin to confront what they've lost. After they've gone through these roller coaster of emotions, they have to confront the fact that they may have lost you forever. And how they feel based on this confrontation will dictate how effective your no contact rule is on your ex, which leads us pretty seamlessly into stage number 7, which is holding out hope for contact. Now the interesting thing I want you to take note of here is that I'm not saying your ex will contact you. In fact, many times they've already tried to contact you during that anger stage and they've been so stubborn that they are not going to contact you at all. But that doesn't mean they don't want you to reach out to them. This is that holding out hope for contact. They have confronted the fact that they may have lost you forever, but they're hoping for the fact that you will reach out to them. Hey there, real quick before we get you back to your video, if you haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel, well, please do that. It really does help. It helps keep our video editors paid. It helps us keep doing these high quality videos. And it's really 5 seconds out of your day to click one little button. So if you could please just click the subscribe button. No harm, no foul if you're not interested, but we figured we'd try. All right, let's get you back to your video. But male psychology is a complicated thing. I've told you what the no contact rule can do. The stages that the no contact rule kind of causes people to go through when you use it on them. But what I haven't talked about is some of our extra findings related to male psychology, what it does to men. So the first thing that we want to talk to you about is actually the avoidance rule. Before I began filming this video, I actually conducted a poll on our private Facebook support group where I asked one simple question. What core attachment style would you classify your ex as? Now, a little over 80 people answered this poll in the span of like 30 minutes. And what we found was pretty interesting. We found that 65% of participants that answered the poll admitted that their exes are avoidant, where 19% say that their exes are fearful. So what does this tell us? Well, one of the things that I think is lost on a lot of people when you use a no contact rule on a man who has broken up with you is the fact that they oftentimes have avoidant or fearful attachment styles. Now, what we've learned about avoidant attachment styles is oftentimes they do not process time in a linear fashion. Okay, so there's almost like this time dilation effect that occurs. Let's say you're doing a 30-day no contact rule. For an avoidant, a 30-day no contact rule will literally feel like 10 days. It doesn't last as long as they're thinking because they're not thinking so much about you, they're avoiding the process. This is further evidenced by research suggesting that oftentimes an ex won't begin to miss you. An avoidant ex will not begin to miss you until you have completely moved on from them. And then, and only then, will they give themselves the permission to miss you. So first off, the no contact rule kind of helps that process go along. And it's also important not to freak out if your ex doesn't reach out to you first. Last year, I actually ran another poll in our private Facebook support group, basically asking this exact question. For those of you who have completed the no contact rule, how many of your exes have reached out during it? I bet over 100 people responded to this, and around 60% of them admitted that their ex did not reach out to them during no contact. Now, when we consider this fact that oftentimes some people will go to the anger place, but instead of getting angry and having that knee-jerk reaction where they immediately approach you and say mean things to you, they just get really stubborn and decide they're not going to contact you at all, which again is an avoidant trait. So research backs up what we believe is happening during the male psychology during the no contact rule. By ignoring your ex, you're making them angry. By making them angry, they tend to get extremely stubborn and hold their ground. They're also avoidants by nature. So ultimately what that means is that they are not going to miss you until a lot of time has gone by. So this is actually why we're considering extending our general no contact rule from 30 days to 45 days. We have seen time and time again for our success stories, people who have succeeded in rebuilding a relationship with their ex, that often longer periods of no contact are required. We also know that most of the time our clients are going to be anxious and their exes will be avoidant. So this kind of further backs up that sort of hypothesis. Now, the final thing that I really want to talk to you about with regards to the male psychology of a no contact rule is really what you're doing with your time during the no contact rule, the intent of the no contact rule. So we've seen this time and time again, this sort of weird phenomenon where oftentimes people who hear about the no contact rule have selective hearing. They only hear the fact that it can help make their ex miss them. And this to them seems like solid gold. And so when they go into a no contact rule with the intent of only making an ex miss them, they get the opposite result. And that's really interesting to me because if you really think about it, the people who are getting the results, who are making their exes miss them, are doing things to indicate to their exes indirectly that they're kind of over them, that they're outgrowing them. So we have tried like every single day to explain to people what matters with regards to the no contact rule is the intent you have during it. It shouldn't be about making an ex miss you. It should be about outgrowing an ex so that they're no longer the top priority. It should be about sending those indirect signals that you are getting over an ex because you want them to believe that, because that's the secret key that will help make them miss you. Hey, real quick, I want to ask a favor of you. So one of the things that we're noticing is that the videos that we tend to post that do the best, that kind of go viral, are ones in which people are watching and subscribing to our YouTube channel. So if you could help us out with that and subscribe to our YouTube channel, we would be eternally grateful. It allows us to keep doing these high quality videos. It pays for the video editors who are editing these videos, and all around it just makes us look more popular which yields more views, which helps us get more incentive to continue to push the boundaries of what's possible with breakup recovery. Thank you.